gotta get it, baby. Let's get Cowboys. Don't do it. Cowboys.
Dorsett down the sideline, stays in bounds. Can you believe that? Aikman throws a deep ball. Touchdown, Cowboys.
That's what make plays, baby.
The ball is intercepted. Starts the high step. Ball is out again. Got him. They bury it. Oh, what a play. Move over, Sweetness. Make a place for Emmett. He's going long. Pearson makes the catch and it goes in for the touchdown.
Dallas, your Cowboys are world champions again. How about them Cowboys?
Yes, it is the 60th anniversary of one of the most recognizable franchises on our sports planet. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, is turning 60. And to celebrate it, the Dallas Cowboys have put together a blue ribbon panel of experts, both nationally as well as in the Metroplex area, to come up with the top 60 Cowboys players of all time. And we're going to reveal the top 10 tonight right here on NFL Network. I'm pleased to be your host for this next hour. My name is Rich Eisen. Joining me on this journey to reveal some of the most notable and famous players in the history of the sport is my NFL Network compadre and one of the triplets, a three-time Super Bowl champion and Hall of Famer in his own right, one of the most famous members of the 88 Club at the wide receiver position for this vaunted franchise, Michael Irvin. Hello, sir. How are you tonight?
Rich, I'm doing great. Rich, I used to have to hijack our show to talk about my Cowboys. You know I'm doing great if the whole show is about my Cowboys.
Well,
so we are absolutely good, man.
Michael, it helps to have a very influential owner here in the National Football League, as well as a very popular franchise that's known worldwide. So you put those two together and you get yourself an hour-long show to celebrate again the 60th anniversary of the Dallas Cowboys. And Jerry Jones will join us later on in this hour. 14 Pro Football Hall of Famers are on the top 60 Cowboys players of all time list. 41 won Super Bowls with Dallas. 71 rings in all. Look at the number of pineapples that had to be carved up to put in the diet of those Pro Bowlers on the list. 16 players from the 90s. That's the most of any decade. That's your decade mostly, Michael. And then 7 running backs and offensive linemen are on this list. That's tied for the most by position if you break down this list by position. Now, let's get to some of the players that have already been announced on this list. Dak Prescott's 54th on the list. Now, again, if you're all wondering, there's only players who are allowed on this list. No coaches are on it. You have to have played for the franchise, and you have had to have played it for at least 4 seasons. Those are the criteria to be named on the Cowboys' top 60 all-time team list, and Dak is on it. He's right there at 54, right in the middle of this, I guess, group of 10. Jim Jeffcoat kicks it off, and Andre Gerard at 51 finishes it off right there. Ezekiel Elliott has made this list. He's number 41. And you want to take a look at some of these names. You've got Darrell Moose Johnston, your fullback from your triplet days, Calvin Hill, Tony Hill in this mix, Herschel Walker, number 49 on the list, Travis Frederick, the center from the Dallas Cowboys teams of note over the last several years. There's safety Roy Williams in the middle of that group of 10. Jay Novacek, who you know very well, is number 36 on the all-time list, Irv.
Yeah, and this is my locker mate right here. This is my guy that locker right next to me, man. I love this dude so much, man. And we don't give him enough credit for what he has done.
Number 34 on the list is a member of the 88 Club. Dez Bryant has made the top 35 of the top 60 of all time, Michael.
Yeah, an incredible player, man. And I just want to tell you, I'll never forget, I remember when we drafted him, we were playing a basketball game, guys. A basketball game, old guys against the new guys. And there was a rebound coming off the rim. I jumped up, and I've won many dunk contests. Winning many dunk contests. I went up to get that ball. I was on my way down, and Dez was still going up, up, up. He got the ball and still kept going up. So when he came in the league and he snatched balls off the top of everyone's head and threw up the X, I already knew that was coming.
The back half, if you will, of the top 60 Cowboy players of all time. Nate Newton there at 31. You know him very well. Eric Williams, the tackle of those great teams as well, one of the tackles. Danny White's checking in at 37 overall. Mark Stepnowski, the center, number 39, just to highlight a couple of the players on that board. Dion Sanders, prime time, number 21, clocks in at 22nd overall, one of the all-time greats in the history of the sport, just showing you when he winds up at 22, it's going to start getting very crowded at the top of this list, Irv.
Yeah, and you know, time's 22 only because of the limited amount of time he spent in Dallas. There is no greater athlete I've ever seen on a football field than number 21.
A 5-down player, 3 downs on defense, 1 on special teams, and then the first down on offense. That's Dion Sanders, who's looking up, however, on the list of Tony Romo. Number 21 on the all-time Dallas Cowboys list, is one of the most popular quarterbacks in the history of the franchise.
Yeah, and this guy right here, Rich, it to some degree has some of that Roger Staubach storytelling in it. Because when you look at Tony Romo, an undrafted quarterback coming into the league, then winning the quarterback job, you know, it's such a great American story, playing for America's team. If Tony could have completed that loop and won just one Super Bowl, he would be way up in the top 10 somewhere.
Some very famous names on this list. Ed Too Tall Jones, 27th overall. Dandy Don Meredith, 24th overall. Everson Walls, who, you know, has Hall of Fame credentials, sitting there, 25th overall. And there's the aforementioned prime and Tony Romo. Let's get to the top 20. And again, he's one of the greatest at the position of all time, and he's number 12 on this list. He is Jason Witten. Irv?
One of my favorite Dallas Cowboys of all time, and I'll tell you why, Rich. You know, when he broke my record and becoming a leading Dallas Cowboys all-time leader in receptions, I couldn't have been more happy. I watched this guy. I would go over to Valley Ranch, because that's where it used to be, our practice facility. And this was after I retired, and I would sit out and watch him and the guy we just showed before this, Tony Romo, the only guys on the field all day working out, running routes in the offseason.
He's also the last player that you're going to be hearing tonight who's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Pretty much that's it. To get in the top 10, you got to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and Bob Hayes, who's in it, is number 11 of all time. Bullet Bob wearing the 22 that obviously Emmett would eventually wear. He's number 11 on the all-time list.
Very great friend of mine. We're both Florida boys, Rich. You know, so when I first got here, we spent a lot of time together, you know, and I spent a lot of time talking to him about playing for the Cowboys and some of the things that he had to endure early on, you know, with Olympics and all of that stuff, man. But phenomenal. This man changed the game for the NFL.
Drew Pearson, who is for 2021 already been announced as a senior committee candidate for enshrinement. He's sitting there at 15th overall. Chuck Howley, another name. Charles Haley, Harvey Martin, just some great Dallas Cowboy names. DeMarcus Ware sitting at the baker's dozen spot. So now it's time for the top 10. We're here. That's what we're here for this evening on this Sunday night on NFL Network.
Fun.
The top 10 of the top 60 Cowboys players of all time. And it's time to start revealing a couple of them right now, and just some, I guess, characteristics of this group of 10 men. All of them are in the Hall of Fame. As I mentioned, Witten's the last one on the list to be mentioned that's not yet in the Hall of Fame. All of them won a Super Bowl with Dallas. 75 Pro Bowls in the top 10, which we now begin to reveal. Number 10 on the all-time top 60 Cowboys players list is Rayfield Wright, Big Cat, a man who was playing tackle all those years, protecting Roger Staubach, made 6 consecutive Pro Bowls in the early 70s, 3-time first-team All-Pro. He won 2 Super Bowls. Rayfield Wright is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Irv.
I used to mess with guys like Eric Williams, and as I said, man, can you man that tackle position like Big Cat did? You know what I'm saying? So he motivated all. I used him to motivate all of my linemen, Eric Williams, Mark Tournay, and then even when we put Big Larry Allen out there at tackle, I said, you gotta be like Rayfield Wright.
Number 9, one of the all-time great running backs.
If Emmett was not in a Dallas Cowboy uniform and become the all-time leading rusher, this guy would be getting much more credit because he deserves much more credit. Rich, he was phenomenal, Rich. You saw him at Pittsburgh in college when he was phenomenal. You cannot lock in on this guy. He beat angles on runs. I saw 2 people have him dead in their sights, and he was so fast, he split them and made them run into each other. It was insane. We don't talk enough about the greatness of Tony Dorsett.
I know we're all on the edge of our seats, not just me and all of you at home, but it also includes my esteemed co-host tonight. He's yet to hear his name. Where will Michael Irvin wind up on this list? Welcome back to the Top 60 Cowboys Players, presented by DraftKings. 6 decades of Dallas Cowboys football is the official book marking the team's 60th anniversary. It features never-before-seen photos, recaps, and results from every season. Plus, rankings of the top 60 players in Cowboys history that we're counting down tonight. Get yours soon through the Dallas Cowboys online pro shop or wherever books are sold. Turn now to the wide receiver position. We've already heard the name of Tony Hill and Dez Bryant, Drew Pearson, and Bob Hayes. It's now time to see who's number 8 on the all-time list, and it's only fitting because it's half of his uniform number for a franchise that he appeared to be a perfect fit for the day he was born, a Dallas Cowboy.
I told Vinny Dez Bryant, said, Vinny, just relax. I'm going to get you the Heisman. Danny White, all pro, because he's dealing with the playmaker.
Who is that dude? Oh my God!
Who is that dude?
Oh my God! Who is that dude right now, man? Oh, that's crazy.
Well, I wouldn't normally go with the question of what would that kid have thought of being named one of the top 10 Cowboys of all time. Eventually, that kid would have said, no, the 8's not high enough. But I also assume the current version of that kid would say the same thing. Michael?
Well, listen, the only reason I'm okay with it.
Sure.
The only reason I'm okay with 8 is because it's 8.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You give me 9, you give me 10, you give me 7 or 6. I may be taking this thing off saying I'm done with this. All this, I'm done. I don't want to hear. But 8, yeah, I can live with that. I can live with that. You know what I mean? And Rich, listen, that's such great history in this organization. Such great players that have come through. Honestly, to be on this list, when I think about all the guys I saw when I first got here, it's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's been an incredible journey. To think about being the 15th of 17 kids. And what's great is, and I can't tell you, Rich, how often I sat in that same room that they just showed that I got drafted in with my father, and we watched the Dallas Cowboys play. He wore a fedora hat because he was such a big Tom Landry fan. It was incredible. And he would always promise me, son, one day we'll get out of this room and go see a game. We'll go watch the Cowboys play. Of course, we could never afford it. And, you know, we never really went to a game together. We just watched him on TV. And I lost him my junior year in high school. I could tell you this, it wasn't a day that I walked in that stadium ready to play for the Cowboys that I didn't think about him. Oh, I'm getting emotional here. Whoa. Let me hold up here. You know, it really wasn't a day that I walked in that stadium not thinking about him. And honestly, to say that I'm number 8, I know he's smiling. And that's important. And that's all. That's what matters most.
Number 7 on this list is Mel Renfro.
Yeah, let's move on before I get too emotional.
Talk about this cornerback, sir. I'll give you the table here to pound for Mel Renfro.
Yeah, an incredible dude, man. I have such great times talking to this dude, right? Mel Renfro was just phenomenal. Phenomenal. And another dude I know, Hall of Fame, and everybody will talk about how great he was. Still, I don't believe gets enough credit for how great he was for the Dallas Cowboys.
And then we move on to number 6. So Michael Irvin at 8, Mel Renfro at 7, and Randy White. I mean, I just loved watching him play.
I saw him the first day I got drafted and came to the Dallas Cowboys. He was he was practicing, and he was going over hand moves to beat offensive linemen. And I remember sitting there watching like, man, that's Randy White. That's Randy White. I cannot believe I'm in a locker room with Randy White. I remember watching him work out. He came in the locker room and sat in his locker, and I was just staring at him. Because I was like, this is how I want to be seen as a Dallas Cowboys one day. How I'm looking at Randy White, I want one day somebody to look at me like that.
Still to come, a triplet reunion, Aikman, Emmett, and Irv together. Where does Aikman and Emmett sit on the list? And Jerry Jones joins us next as we reveal the top 5.
They are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
All day, we don't stop. Emmitt Smith dances to the end zone. Pressure from Haley, and he buried it. Starts the high step at the 25. Dallas, your Cowboys are world champions again. How about them Cowboys? Blitz to the outside. Where got it? Tony Romo, that touchdown is all on you. Show him the edge, Dez. Elliott broke through. Perfect throw. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Yes, we're down to the top 5 reveal of the top 60 Cowboys players of all time. And to help us kick that off is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones. I'm wondering what you think of 60th anniversary of this vaunted franchise that you have owned for more than half. It has been just truly remarkable, and now you're in the Pro Football Hall of Fame yourself. I wonder what you're thinking of when you're hearing this being counted down.
Actually, I'm going to go right to the time when I decided to buy the Dallas Cowboys.
Sure.
You see, it really was Roger Staubach's name, if you will, Tom Landry. It really was Herschel Walker that let me overcome the challenge financially to buy the Cowboys. The Cowboys were losing everything. I had to buy 15% of them from the government. They'd been foreclosed on. And so this was not an uptime financially. But these great players that I didn't have an involvement in getting to the Cowboys in their own way inspired me. And I just thought, man, what would it be like to sit in the office where Bob Lilly and sit in the office where Roger Staubach were a part of getting on the football field in the NFL. So from the very get-go, they were inspirational.
Jerry, you talked about buying the Dallas Cowboys. Talk to me about, because I've heard you speak many a times about this. This belongs to America. It's America's team. It's just your responsibility now to carry the ball. How much pressure is that on you when you're talking about the greatest franchise in the world, now yours, to carrying that ball?
Well, Michael, not only did I feel that it is our fans, it is sports. I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys. But I said what it inspired me to do was every little thing, every way, not run with the ball, not throw it down the field, believe it or not coaching the team, but in every way I could add to it and make your mark on it. And again, that goes back and it starts with the thing we all identify with, those players on the field. and how to get that ball in the end zone.
As you look back and you've heard some of the names that are on this list, and two of the triplets are coming up, what of your championship years leaps to mind, certainly when you talked about the journey traveled?
Well, I know this from my perspective. I never could have dreamed how we might have evolved and be able to be sitting there and hoisting that Super Bowl trophy up. I just wouldn't have almost dared going there. What I will tell you is that every step of the way, Michael sitting there on the set with you. I remember the first day that I met Michael. We were out in the breezeway right at the practice field. And Jimmy was with me, and he had played with Michael 2 years earlier. He had coached for Michael 2 years earlier. And he said, I want you to meet one of the neatest men that I've ever had play for me. And said the main thing is that when his first day in the line at the chow hall there at the Miami, he had to use that tray and get everybody's attention on the head of one of his teammates that was maybe pushing him out of the line. Said, now this guy's what you want.
Fantastic.
And of course, when I go, since we're there, I'm going to stay there. I noticed where he is on this list. If you'll put and think about that list as if they hadn't been there, would they have gotten any gold or would they have gotten a trophy? Michael, we couldn't have gotten there for three of them had you not been on that list. So I'm not so sure I agree with that spot on that list for you. I think it ought to be up there higher.
I appreciate you saying that, boss. And it's so funny because when you bring that up, I remember that meeting. And I remember saying to you, said, boss, we're going to win Super Bowls, and I promise you that. I was just speaking, bravado, just wanted to make you feel good. I didn't, but we actually did turn that thing around and win 3 Super Bowls, which was incredible. But it was incredible.
And now you're about to enter, the Cowboys about to enter a 7th decade of football, 60 years in the books, and the top 60 Cowboys players of all time show that we've been putting on the air here for now on this Sunday night. It's now time to reveal the top 5. And the number 5 on this all-time list is none other than Larry Allen. Take a look.
Holy moly. That's some line play. If I ever went back into coaching, I could take one guy with me and be that guy right there, old number 73 White. He may be the best offensive lineman in all of pro football. I mean, he can pass block and run block, and he can dominate from a guard position.
That's right. Find someone in your life who loves you as much as John Madden used to love talking about this guy, calling all those Dallas Cowboys games for all those years. 5th greatest Cowboys player of all time by way of Butte College, making his way into the National Football League and an anchor on that Dallas Cowboys offensive line that for so many years blew open holes for Emmitt Smith and kept Troy Aikman upright and had so many great Hall of Fame pass rushers keeping them at bay. Jerry Jones, you introduced him for enshrinement at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I give you the floor on Larry Allen.
Well, the thing that comes to my mind that is overshadowed a little bit when you look at his great talent, his quickness, his speed. My goodness, he was the size and the strength that he was bringing around when he would pull and get up in the hole to lead the ball carries. But with all of that, with all of the physical ability, it was overshadowed by his burning desire to be as good as he could be. His burning desire to be the very best.
5th greatest Cowboys player of all time. Jerry Jones, thank you for joining us on this show. Congratulations on the 60th anniversary. I hope the 61st year goes as well as you would like it to.
Thank you.
That's Jerry Jones right here live on NFL Network. Top 60 Cowboys players of all time. When we come back, we have a reunion. The triplets. Yep. 2 of them are in the top 5. 4 left to reveal on the top 60 Cowboys players list of all time. Just recapping, the 88 clubber Michael Irvin, fittingly number 8 on the all-time list. 8 greatest Cowboy player of all time. Now it's time to reveal where the rest of the triplets have landed on the list.
Think of the greatest the field ever seen in triplet. 1, 2, 3. Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. 3 Super Bowls, but what you expect, that's what winners get. They all in the Hall of Fame, cause when you bought a game, give you the benefits. Troy Aikman, if I'm open, guaranteed he find me. Sick with the timing, I ain't just rhyming. Plus he won 90 games in the 90s, eh? Michael Irvin, call him playmaker. Looking for him, that's the number 88 player. Lining up with him, they can't save you. Run circles round you like a waist trainer. Big plays in the big games, throw it to him, watch him ball like 88 does. And if you play like Irvin, the number on your jersey, welcome to the 88 club. Wait, you thought I forgot about Emmitt? The world never could, and I didn't. Talk about winning, all-time leader in rushing, and I don't really see a spot slipping. The field was his victim. 18,000 yards, but it feel like 18 million. 3 Cowboys that'll go down as the greatest to ever step foot in the building. The triplets.
Interesting enough, that's Michael Irvin's ringtone as we bring in the rest of the triplets here on this phenomenal 60-minute program here on NFL Network, counting down the top Cowboys of all time. You could see Michael Irvin there still with us on the right, and then quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, Troy Aikman, number 8, and then number 22 on your program, number 1 in your heart, Emmitt Smith, joining us, the triplets back together. And number 4 on the list, that belongs to the quarterback. We just have Troy Aikman's uniform number. Number 8 is number 4 on this all-time list. We know the 3-time Super Bowl champion quarterback on those triplet era. Troy Aikman, number 4 all time, the man who holds the record for the most rushing yards in the history of the National Football League. Man out of Florida, and he's joining us from the Florida heat right now, so we'll get right to him so we can get him back inside as fast as possible. Emmitt Smith, congrats on being number 3 on this all-time list, sir.
Thank you, Rich. Obviously, I feel very honored to be with my teammates, Troy and Michael. We had some great years during the 90s, and we set a mark that probably would not be matched.
Guys, let me tell you something, man. And Troy, Emmitt, when I saw 8, things grew up on the back of my head. I was like, 8? But then I thought, okay, my boy wears 8. I wore 88. 8 is fitting. I can take 8. You know what I'm saying? They must have known. They said if we make Michael 7 or 9, he'll complain. Let's make him 8. Part of the 88 club. It'll be okay. So I'm okay with that. It really is. It really is
Irvin,
an honor, guys. With a great tradition.
Irvin. Your producer, I'm not going to take credit for this. Your producer, though, said you would have finished a lot higher if Jason Sehorn had shutting you down so many times.
Hey, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Yes, Sehorn Island.
You have stuck this in here.
You'll have to bring that up with your producer.
You can't let them ride you with that, man.
Definitely knocked him down a couple pegs. You're right,
Troy.
Troy.
They will play this all season long. I guarantee that.
That's hilarious.
Well,
oh, man.
I guess let me jump in here, and let's go to you first, Troy. If I had told you, and then you guys can just go down the row, Emmitt, and then Irv, you can bring us home. But Troy first, if I had told you that the 3 of you together in 2020 would be viewed as 3 of the top 10 Cowboys of all time when this fabulous franchise celebrates its 60th anniversary, what would you said at the time, Troy?
You know, at the time, Rich, it's pretty remarkable from where we began. Michael and Emmitt and I were all together just last week, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about this very thing. And, you know, Michael came in 88, as he said. I was 89, and Emmitt was 1990, and all 3 of us had losing seasons our first year. And I think that's what made our trio so special, was the fact that none of us had enjoyed any success without the other. So we came from very humble beginnings. We were not very good when we started, but we hung in there and we worked hard. And we had a lot of other pieces around us. We had some great coaching, and Jimmy Johnson and Norv Turner and, you know, a lot of others, too many to name. And before we left and stopped wearing the helmet, we had 3 world championships under our belt.
Yeah. I couldn't say it any better. Just the simple fact that I think we all three were. We may not have realized it at the time, but I think when we all came together, it was one of those things that I don't think anybody would have ever imagined that we would have been able to put all three of us together on the football field at the same time and be able to produce the things that we produced throughout the 90s. Obviously, I was considered too small and undersized to do the things that I was doing. And Michael was coming back off of a knee injury, and there were some little questions in the air whether or not he could bounce back the way he was back in college, as well as his first year with the Dallas Cowboys, and let alone all of the naysayers that was talking about whether or not Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones could actually build something of this magnitude.
Rich, you heard me say a million times that I measure men in distance traveled. Don't tell me about where you are. Tell me about where you started and now where you are, so I can measure you accordingly. And for where we came in and what that thing was. And Troy, Emmett, you guys remember those team-only meetings that resulted in nothing. They resulted in nothing. We would have those meetings and go out the next week and get our heads kicked in. Kicked in. So I thought about, I think about that. I thought about that the moment we won our first Super Bowl. I think about that when we get an opportunity to be blessed with being in the top 10 of one of the greatest franchise in the history of organized sport. To be in the top 10 in that franchise is an incredible, incredible blessing.
There's no way in the world I could have been as successful as I was on the football field without having Troy and Michael actually by my side, along with the 5 guys that we had up front that was leading the way, and our tremendous defense that we actually had that gave us many, many, many opportunities to do the things that we were able to do. But when you peel back the onion and you go to a personal level, yes, I achieved something very personal that I really wanted to achieve, and I set that out in 1990 as a true rookie when I was writing down my goals and so forth. And I talked to Michael one day before a game. He asked me one night before a game, he asked me what I wanted to do in the game. And I told him I wanted to become an all-time leader in rush. He just laughed in my face. And so, but when you look up and you have spent not just the great years that we've all shared together, and you go through this process of starting where we did at the very bottom of the ladder, and we had to work our way through it. And you start to see things starting to mount up. You're having these Super Bowls. You're having a chance to do things that very few men in the game of football have a chance to do.
Emmett, congrats on being number 3 all time and overcoming what is a shocking lack of display of partnership and friendship from Michael Irvin all those years ago to laugh in your face about trying to be number 1 overall on the rushing list. It's a little bit appalling, to be very honest, if the word comes to mind. And Troy, I appreciate you pointing out that Irv could have joined you in the top 5 if he didn't visit Seahorn Island as much as he did in his playing days.
Oh, God.
That's the only way I know how to sign off from this segment. Thanks for joining, and congrats to all you on where you are on the list. You got it. That's Emmett. That's Troy. That's Irv. 2 places still to come. You could have pretty much guessed Bob Lilly and Roger Staubach were the names that have yet to be mentioned. Where are they on the all-time list? Yes, number 12. Let you know that numbers 1 and 2 remaining to be revealed on the top 60 Cowboy players of all time program. Top 60 Cowboys players of all time, presented by DraftKings. Fresh reminder, there's a book version of this 1-hour show. 6 Decades of Dallas Cowboys Football is the official book marking the team's 60th anniversary. It features never-before-seen photos, recaps, and results from every Dallas Cowboys season, plus rankings of the top 60 players in the history of the franchise. Get yours soon through the Dallas Cowboys online pro shop or wherever books are sold. Okay, we're now down to the top 2 as we've been counting down the top 10. Once again, you got to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame to have cracked the top 10 list. Rayfield Wright, Tony Dorsett our man Irv, Mel Renfro, Randy White, Larry Allen. We just had a nice chat with Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith in a reunion with the triplets. That leaves the final two. It's either Roger Staubach or Bob Lilly, and number 2 of all time is, in fact, the man known as Mr. Cowboy, Bob Lilly. This guy personified the Dallas Cowboys franchise from the minute he was drafted. He was the first draft choice in the history of the franchise, and so many accolades. 11-time Pro Bowler, 7-time first-team All-Pro, member of the 75th anniversary All-Time team, the 100th anniversary All-Time team, the All-Decade team of the 60s and the 70s. Bob Lilly. Michael, Irvin, how about this guy, huh?
As great as he was on the football field, he really is a better human being. You hear people say things like that, and no, but here it is the absolute truth, man. He's known as Mr. Cowboy for a reason. He's just a great dude, man. He was that first draft pick, and he's earned everything.
He's had a ton of firsts for the history of the Dallas Cowboys that began 60 years ago with their first ever draft choice being none other than Bob Lilly, and that sparked a whole run of firsts for Bob with the Dallas Cowboys franchise. First draft pick in the history of Dallas. Also, the first player inducted into the Cowboys Ring of Honor in 1975 in that stadium that I always used to get so excited about when it was in the opening of the TV show Dallas. J.R. Ewing, Bob Lilly was part of that America's team in that Ring of Honor in that great Cowboys Texas stadium that you played in as well, Michael. And then the first Cowboy to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bob Lilly, the first in so many different regards. However, he is number 2 on this all-time list of Cowboys players, top 60. As you can see, so many amazing accolades for the man known as Mr. Cowboy. So now it's time to reveal the top Dallas Cowboy of all time as voted upon by this blue ribbon panel of Cowboys experts, and it is none other than Roger Staubach. Number 12, number 1, together. He is, as we all know, the personification of America's team from the time where he played for the Dallas Cowboys, setting the stage for the triplets that we just spoke to. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, a Heisman Trophy winner, a Navy man through and through, 2-time Super Bowl champion from the class of 1985. Last time I saw him was on the set of the NFL 100 All-Time Team show in NFL Films, and joining us right now on the Top 60 Cowboys Players of All Time program is none other than Roger Staubach. Congrats on the honor, sir. I'm wondering what you think about it.
That was a bit of a shocker there. I was proud to be in the group, but I didn't realize where I was. But it's amazing. I look back when I was leaving the Navy, joining the Cowboys. I would have never dreamed that this would be happening with all the great players there. And I just wish we would have won a few more Super Bowls.
Roger, man, wait a minute. Man, you say this is a shocker, and that throws me for a loop, Roger. Let's just recap what you are, what you have done. And I mean, you served our country. You came to America's team. You became Captain Comeback. So that means that's the American dream. Always fight. You have a chance. You coined the Hail Mary. Don't ever give up. You'll have a chance. How can you be surprised with the great love affair that fans of them and everybody for America's team consider you to be the number 1 Cowboy of all time with all of that run-up to coming to the Cowboys?
Well, not trying to be humble. It's an amazing story with the Dallas Cowboys, and when you think of Bob Hayes and Don Meredith and Bob Lilly and Michael Irvin and Drew Pearson and Troy Aikman. I mean, Troy Aikman is he's my favorite quarterback. So it's a real thrill to be in the group, and and I wish they didn't have to pick number one, because I think we're all proud to be in the top group of Cowboy football players.
But I think what Irv was alluding to, and what
I intentionally underthrew that ball right there.
Look,
on Drew's hip.
Hey, you again. you were savvy enough to do that. Sure.
Yeah.
What Irv was referring to is obviously the quarterback is the face of a franchise in the NFL, and has been for a very long time. You're kind of the personification of the moniker of America's team.
Perfect fit.
And so I'm wondering, it seemed to me, growing up and watching you play and be the personification of it, it seemed a natural thing a natural thing for you to do. Yeah. I'm wondering what it was like for you when you were going through that. Did you sense that sort of mantra that was been thrown on you at the time, Roger?
Yeah, well, I didn't play quarterback till my senior year in high school, and I had a coach that told me, I'm going to switch you to quarterback, and I didn't want to be a quarterback, but I had a real good year my senior year in high school, and it changed my life, because then I stayed as a quarterback, and then to all of a sudden be drafted. Gil Brandt drafted me as a future draft after my service time, and so to be a quarterback on the Dallas Cowboys and America's team, and I've watched Don Meredith when I was in the service, and some of those games against Green Bay, and so I was really fortunate to come with the Dallas Cowboys.
When you're talking about in a time like this, when we're looking for things to inspire people and lift people up, your story is exactly what it is. It lifts people up. It inspires people. And I just appreciate to be able to call you a friend and to call you a teammate on this top 60 list.
Well, Michael, you inspire a lot of people also. I mean, you've been a fantastic football player, somebody that loves the Cowboys, and just a good guy, fun guy, fantastic personality. But you were there was Drew Pearson and Bob Hayes and Michael Irvin, and there's a lot of just great receivers that made us look good as quarterback, and you're for sure one of them. You made Troy look good. Troy was good though.
It's amazing, your journey, Roger, and congratulations again on yet another accolade in your storied life and storied career. Thanks for joining our program.
Well, thank you, Rich.
You got it. That is Roger Staubach.
Michael.
That is it right there. Roger Staubach voted the greatest Dallas Cowboys player
the best
of all time. Certainly is the best. Okay, so the man who helped block for Tony Dorsett and protect Roger Staubach so he could play fake to Tony Dorsett and get maybe Randy White back on the field and Mel Renfro. That's Roger Staubach. Michael Irvin is 8th on this all-time top 10 list. Congratulations again to you. And I am Rich Eisen, pleased to have hosted alongside you, Michael Irvin, for this Top 60 Cowboys Players program of all time right here on NFL Network. The 2020 NFL season is right around the corner, and to that end, I say to all 31 other fan bases, put away your Dallas haterade. It's now free. You feel free to tune back into NFL Network right now. Have a good night.
What do you mean tune back in, Rich? What do you mean? What do you mean tune back in? They shouldn't have turned away, Rich. Hey, those other 31 franchises, they are seeking and searching for real greatness. And if you're seeking and searching for real greatness, you get it any way you can. You eat it off any plate that they put on the table. And the Dallas Cowboys
don't we have credits to roll out here?
Get to eating.
Have a great night, and congrats again. Happy anniversary to the Dallas Cowboys.
All right.